This is Carmen and I'm Daryl, and together we're learning to sail Kimara along the south coast of the British Isles before setting our sights further afield. After a few months learning the basics in and around Poole Harbour, this is our first ever cruise, and we're headed down the beautiful southwest shores of England, making plenty of mistakes on the way and learning an absolute bundle as we try and fail to reach the Isles of Scilly. We decided to sail overnight from our home port of Poole to Dartmouth, and here lay our first lesson. Not the overnight part. That was fine, if a little chilly early in the season, but it was in the beating against prevailing winds to our destination. Well, we knew we could tack our way, but we really hadn't appreciated just quite how much longer and tiring this would make our journey. Arriving in Dartmouth, though, was quite magical. Not just because we'd finally arrived after 30 tiring hours. The entrance is dramatic, beautiful, with its castle and forts, chapels and grand villas, before you round the bend and Dartmouth with its pastel coloured houses comes into view and wraps its sheltering arms around you and your boat. We spent a night in Darthaven Marina and then sauntered slowly upriver to Dittisham, where we'd pick up a mooring to spend the night. It's definitely worth at least half a day walking in and around Dittisham, and a whole day if you want to visit Agatha Christie's home, Greenway, on the opposite bank. There is a small jetty for dinghy tie-up, the ferry boat inn for a drink, and if you book ahead, the Anchorstone Cafe for a relaxed lunch by the river. With the sun hiding for the next few days, we decided to push on to Plymouth. It was a very lumpy exit from the Dartmouth entrance and pretty lively all the way to start point. But on the plus side, we missed the tidal race and from here had a much calmer sail all the way into Plymouth. We'd stay one night in Plymouth Yacht Haven before receiving our second lesson from the sea. Every day we'd carefully monitor Windy and the shipping forecast for our next passage. Now, the Plymouth forecast area stretches all the way from Brittany up to Plymouth, and when it said rough becoming moderate sea state in the south and moderate in the north, well, we thought we'd be good to go. This turned into an absolute roller coaster ride all the way to Fowey. we learnt to be much more cautious, and that when it says moderate, that can mean quite uncomfortable for novices, so why not spend a day exploring ashore? We took this lesson to heart and spent the next 3 nights moored up on the pontoon in Fowey, walking the coast path, taking the tender up river, watching the kingfishers, and learning that Fowey is ill-equipped for provisioning or even fish and chips, but it is blessed with plenty of pubs. Finally the weather cleared out, and along with our neighbours so did we. It was a pleasant day sail tacking our way to Falmouth and Pendennis Marina. It was now late May, and we'd hoped that high pressure would build and we'd be able to cross to the Scillies, but it was horribly inconsistent. A day of sun, 2 days of rain, another of cloud and wind. So we made the most of it, first of all exploring up the River Fowey. Initially we picked up an empty mooring for lunch before moving on to one of several visitor pontoons dotted up and down the river. And we enjoyed 2 gorgeous days hidden away amongst the tree-lined banks before restocking in Falmouth and making the hour hop to the Helford River. See the one at the end, definitely does. See the one with the yellow boy? The next day we tied up the dinghy at the friendly Helford River Sailing Club, caught a bus and set about another leg of the coast path. Some bits were glorious, other bits a slog. Then we'd take the flood tide upriver to the seal sanctuary at Gweek, and this was followed by a soggy day playing Scrabble and cards on board before deciding to give up on our dream of the Scillies for now and to head back east. Just 5 miles out, we discovered that our batteries were not charging at all. Day skipper training was called into action as we shut all the systems down to keep some battery for our approach to Plymouth, resorting to taking fixes for the log and going old school. It was a salutary lesson in the value of the training we'd had. This time we'd head into Mayflower Marina. discover an alternator cable that was hanging by a thread, and this was what had caused our electrical issue, and would enjoy the weekend hiking the pretty coast from Rame Head back to Kreml. As the weekenders sailed home, we moved into the Yealm. The pilot books are great at providing the guidance on how to get into these various harbours, but they do scare the bejesus out of you ahead of time. I mean, it's probably a good thing to be cautious, but we found the realities to be better than the expectations of what might happen. I guess like everything, preparation counts. Consecutive nights followed in Salcombe. Yes, it is Chelsea by the sea. Brixham, noisy at night, but good fish and chips. I'm not sure we'll be rushing back to either for a while. And finally, the big jump across Lyme Bay, dodging the Portland tidal race to head into Weymouth.
Yeah. Oh, they're really playing.
Here. Oh, what did people like it?
Oh, wow.
I'm still chickening out on doing that inside passage around the bill, but maybe we'll try that in 23. And Weymouth was our home for the Queen's Jubilee, and what a great atmosphere it provided before we finally made it back to Poole. 3 weeks, 8 new harbours, 1 night sail, a few hundred miles chalked up in the log, and many, many lessons learned for us novices. I really hope you enjoyed this tale aboard Kimara. If you'd like to join us as we make for the Channel Islands and continue on the coastal path, just like and subscribe. It's free. Thanks so much for watching to the end.